Hello guys, this is Jess from Sacred Fox. I'm back with another pick a card reading. Today's reading is going to be about how others see you. So if you're kind of in like a little bit of a space where you're just like, how do others perceive me? What kind of things am I attracting in a way into my life? And what kind of energy do I give off in general? We have 4 piles here. This is a nice fun reading. It is a general reading, so if it doesn't apply to you, that's okay. I'm hoping that you can pick up some of the points that are most relevant to you. And if there's anything that doesn't resonate with you, that might be for somebody else for this particular reading. So just kind of keep an open mind when we're going through this. And yeah, let's get started. So we have pile number 1, 2, 3, and 4. And if this is your first time doing a pick a card reading, just choose one of the piles, fast forward to the timestamp provided below, and receive your answer. You can choose a card deck based on the number, the intuitive pull towards a specific pile, or maybe if a particular thing on the piles are intriguing to you, so you can go ahead. There's no wrong answers, and yes, you can pick more than one if you really feel like you need to, but it's best to kind of just do one, otherwise you might get a few mixed messages. So pile number 1, 2, 3, and 4. So I'm going to go ahead and put all these guys to the side. We'll start with 1. Hello, pile number 1. So how do others see you? So what kind of things do others see in you? What kind of personality traits? How are you perceived in general in the world? And yeah, the kind of energy that you project. And I think that's pretty much it in a nutshell. So we have pile number 1 here. We have a key. So I'm just going to put that aside to see if it correlates with the reading. I didn't put any specific symbolism with any particular card deck. So we'll just kind of see how that plays out. So we have 10 of Swords right there. Page of Swords. Okay, 3 of Pentacles. We have Knowledge. We have Strength. Queen of Swords. 8 of Cups and 6 of Swords. So this is like some heavier and more intense energy. I feel like you've been through a lot. And because of that, a lot of people see you as like a wise, kind of like a wise person. So like they look at you and they see, wow, maybe this person kind of knows what's going on in the world because they've been through so much stuff. They can relate to you on many different levels. When I see the key, I kind of think of like, you might be a little bit more of a guarded personality. It might take a little bit more time to get to know you. But I'm seeing that overall, like people recognize some of the things that you've been through and really see you as a strong individual. And when I see the key, it's just kind of like unlocking. So it's just like maybe they feel that you hold sort of like some kind of knowledge or hidden truth to life just because of all of your vast experiences. And just your willingness to kind of just push through those and continue to be an individual. What I am picking up here is that you are kind of more of an independent person. You might keep to yourself a little bit more. I am seeing like a lot of swords in this reading. So like I'm seeing that you're very intellectual, especially with this, like we got the lovely little, beautiful little fairy card here. So to me, that just says knowledge. So it's like you have a vast amount of information and you're very intellectual. When I see the swords come up, I'm like, okay, you know what? Intellect. That's kind of what that says to me. So I'm seeing that there's a lot of wisdom and a lot of strength. You know, people really see you for your perseverance. When I see like a lot of these swords cards and some of them being reversed, to me, that's like, yeah, you've been through some trials, especially with this 10 of Swords, that this guy just pops up right away. So I'm seeing that this is kind of like you're working through the end of like a phase, like you've been through a lot and you've been knocked down on your feet. Like, look at this guy. He doesn't look very happy. And the deer's like, bro, are you okay? But I'm seeing that you've been able to get up and start yourself fresh and start yourself new in your life, like despite like the stuff that's been thrown at you. If that makes any sense to you, I'm really hoping that that does resonate because I am seeing like, okay, there's like this mental exhaustion that kind of comes with these reversed sword cards, this mental confusion, exhaustion, maybe an uncertainty, maybe a specific anxiety in that nature. But I am seeing that it's the end, because we have the 10 here. I'm seeing like it's your experiences, it's the things that you've worked through and you've kind of moved through. Seeing this kind of, I feel like this is definitely a little bit more of a past situation with this 10 of Swords energy here, just because it's like, okay, it's a 10. It's like the final. And being reversed too, that tells me that you're not in this exact position. I feel like you've kind of conquered it and you've kind of moved through it. So it's like the aspect in you is like, sorry, bumped that a little bit. That aspect of you is really strong, and you have built a lot of knowledge and a lot of information, and it's almost kind of made you a little bit like, I don't want to say callous, but like you kind of take it as it comes now. You're like, all right, you know what, I've been here, I've done that, I kind of know what's going on, I've seen all the bullshit, you know, I've come out on top and I'm still here, I'm still working through it. So it's a good sign, honestly. But I am seeing, just because there is like these swords energy, a lot of more cooler energy, I'm seeing that, yeah, maybe you might come across this kind of having a strong outer shell. And like not necessarily being hard to approach, but just like people recognize your strength. And I feel like people would be extremely, extremely foolish, extremely foolish to cross you, because you've been through it. You know, like, why would anybody doubt you? Because you've lived through some of the hardest things. And especially within your own mind, I feel like you've really had to work through a lot of doubt, and work through your thoughts and kind of understand who you are as a person in the way that you want to think, and just like allow yourself to feel truly comfortable in the direction that you want to move, in the thoughts that you think. When I see the Page of Swords reversed, the pages are messengers. So when I see this, it's like, yeah, you've had some kind of like, you've been through some stuff. It's been through some heavy stuff. And I'm seeing that, you know, maybe just being this kind of a little bit more like immature energy, just because I see this, you've dealt with people that maybe are really childish, or people that aren't really developed emotionally or mentally or anything like that. So it's been a lot to do with, you know, maybe you've been through a lot of heavy stuff in your life. But I am seeing that, again, like this is a lot about how others see you. So this is perceived as like, wow, like people know that you've been through some stuff, but you're still working really hard, which is why I see the Three of Pentacles here, which is kind of like taking your hard work and putting it into action. When I see it reversed, though, that tells me that it's like an enjoyment of working by yourself, like working alone, which almost like I feel like is maybe like your strength and your flaw, because I feel like if you had the ability to open up to people a little bit more, I feel like you might be able to get some of your projects and jobs done a little bit faster. But I definitely do see that you value that independence, because you feel like you can fully rely on yourself as a person. And I feel like you can, again, acquire the knowledge and have the strength to kind of push through. But when I see these cards, that makes me really happy, because I don't know, I just like fairies. They're just super cute and fun. And the fact that you have these like elements to you, I think shows that you're a very strong individual. We're going to pop over to some more cards over here. We have the Queen of Swords energy, which is that sort of, again, I'm going to say it's that swords. It's the kind of like intense, makes decisions, almost seems like a little bit mentally sharp. Sometimes a little bit, comes off a little bit cold, just because the queen, I would say the Queen of Swords is probably the more intense one of all the queens. I see this just kind of like hard to read. You know, she's like, kind of like Elsa. She reminds me of like Elsa, where she's kind of like closed off. You can't really tell what she's thinking. She's kind of like mysterious, but she knows what's going on. She's got a lot of wisdom to her, and she definitely does offer a lot of warmth to those that are close to her. But because I'm not seeing that as a king card, I'm seeing that you definitely do focus more on your inner circle, and how. And that's kind of like, you're okay with that. Like, you're happy with that kind of more like reserved energy, a little bit more sharp, a little bit more say it how it is. And I feel like you've kind of battled through a lot of this bullshit of like the say it how it is thing, because like you've been through enough to be like, okay, you know what? Been there, done that. I'm sick of sugarcoating things. So I think that that's where you might come across as a little bit like cold, but I don't think you're cold in the slightest. I just think that you are an experienced individual, you know what you want, and you don't have time for bullshit, straight off the bat. I'm also seeing with the Six of Swords is that like there was a lot of stuff that was like thrown at you. So like I feel like it's a lot about like learning from your past experiences and allowing them to take to take you places. But I'm also seeing that because of like some of the things that you've been through, like you like to take life a little bit slower. You like to think on a level that's like, okay, I'm just going to take my time with this. I'm really going to mull this over. It's less about speed, which also kind of makes you a little bit hesitant sometimes to trying new things. And I think some people recognize that as well, because you want to continue to maintain control within this balance that you found within yourself. And again, that's not a bad thing. It's just what you like. It's what your preferences are. And I'm seeing that others really perceive that in you as well, where you're just kind of like, okay, you kind of like to take things day by day and moment by moment, and you don't maybe like to kind of like go out of your box very often. This could apply to you, or this could apply to somebody else. This is just, this card in particular is kind of what's speaking to me. Normally it's like holding onto the reins, but I'm feeling like maybe like you've kind of like let go a lot of control as well, where you've just kind of put down feeling like you need to control everything and just kind of let life take you where it needs to go. But I feel like at the same time, you're also very aware of the decisions that you're going to be making and where they're going to lead you prior to making those decisions. And I definitely see that's a very strong trait. And I'm seeing that with the Eight of Cups, you're still continuing to walk away from things that are still no longer serving you. So I know that you still might have some emotional, what do you call it? You have some emotions invested in some things that are still not necessarily the greatest for you, but you do care ultimately. And I know that in the past you've had a history of maybe holding on too long and giving people too much and just not receiving enough in return. But I am seeing that you recognize that this is something that is a quality in you, which is why I feel there's a lot of guardedness to you as well, because you're like, I don't want to invest in something that I just have to walk away from, and I don't want to invest in something that I won't enjoy. So I'm seeing that you really do take into account what you put your energy into, and I do definitely detect that you're a little bit more selective when it comes to who you allow into your inner space and inner circle. And again, it's like the key, like somebody has to prove to you that they are, I don't want to say worthy, because I don't want you to like think that you're coming off as pretentious, but like you don't want to get yourself into this position again, right? This feeling position of being exhausted and mentally drained and just being confused and anxious and any of these things. So it's a lot about just recognizing that this is kind of a thing that you have going on, but it's also something that I feel like you're really working towards. And I'm really happy to see that. And I feel like others kind of recognize too, like I feel like they know that you have like, you still have some things that you're holding on to, which also kind of makes you a little bit more guarded as well. So there's that perception that you're just kind of like, I'm just kind of working through my stuff. It's like a lot of independence here. Overall though, I would say that others perceive you as a fairly well-rounded individual, aside from the fact that you might be a little bit sharp in your words sometimes, maybe a little bit intense. I feel like you're being perceived as somebody that is wise and somebody that does have a lot of strength, which I think is a very beautiful and amazing personality trait. And just like, the key is interesting because it's like unlocking your mind and understanding how your mind works. And that mystery, right? When you see a treasure chest, like you're like a treasure chest, like you have this abundance of knowledge and of experience. Is that a word? Experiential? No, I don't think it is. Experience in knowledge and a wealth in that in a lot of ways. So people look to you for kind of a strength. And because, you definitely are perceived as a strong person. That's what I'm getting for pile number 1. I hope that made sense to you guys. If this reading made sense, please leave me a comment. Let me know what you think, what pile you chose, how it resonated with you. I would be really happy to read your feedback. If you enjoyed the video, please give it a thumbs up. If you didn't, thumbs down is fine too. I'm open to criticism. And subscribe if you'd like more pick a card readings. And feel free to leave a suggestion in the comments as well if there's a specific question that you want answers to. Thank you, pile number 1, for joining me today, and enjoy the rest of your fabulous day. Hello, pile number 2. We're going to be taking a peek at how do others see you? How are you viewed by the world? So this is going to kind of take a peek into your personality, kind of take a look at what's going on, maybe some dynamics and things that you're going through, and just kind of give you insight not only into yourself, but into how you're perceived by the world. So we have a really cool ring here. I think this is like I don't remember where I got this from, but I think it's like the Lord of the Rings. Precious, my precious ring. So I'll put that to the side there. Number 2, perfect. Sorry, I bumped that. Didn't move it too far, did I? No, we're good. I'm going to get that out of there. That's just ugly. Okay, let's check it out. How do others see you? 6 of Wands, 4 of Cups. Ooh, Death. Don't freak out. Just going to say that right away. Don't freak out. Communication. Floating. 8 of Swords. Ace of Swords. Knight of Swords. Damn, we get a lot of swords today. There's been a lot of swords in pile 1 at least. And pile 2 kind of is the same. So let me just take a look at this because I just want to make sure we're kind of going in the right direction here. So something that jumps off right at the bat is the 4 of Cups. So we have the 4 of Cups here. And this is kind of like you're super chill. Sometimes you can come off as being a little bit aloof, kind of going with the flow, maybe seeming kind of like a little bit melancholy sometimes. But overall, I feel like you have a fairly relaxed attitude towards life, and you kind of just have like this lay back and chill sort of mentality to you. But at the same time, it can kind of lead you into like this place of feeling like, oh, you know, I'm kind of bored with life. I'm just not sure what will fulfill me emotionally. So it's just like this, not really sure, just kind of going with the flow, rolling with the punches. And when I see that, I'm really seeing the floating card as well. Like I was just like, you're just drifting. You're like a drifter. You kind of go to what makes you feel kind of like happy and just allows you to just be free. I'm seeing as well, just because of the 6 of Wands card, I feel like, you know, I feel like you should be more acknowledged than you are in your life. Like, you do a lot for people, and I'm seeing that you do offer a lot of advice. Just in this communication card, I feel like you're well-rounded in your throat chakra and being able to communicate and talk through situations. You might have a lot of people that come to you for advice, just because you do come across as like somebody that's maybe a little bit more approachable. You know, you see this guy sitting under a tree and he's chilling and he's like, yeah, and there's like a squirrel. Like, that's the kind of person you want to talk to and be like, hey, how's life? You know, what's going on in life right now? So I'm seeing that definitely is a factor. Oh, there's another card under here. Holy smokes, I didn't even know that. Well, surprise, you get another one. The 4 of Pentacles to me, like, but for some reason I feel like you have a hard time, like, locking yourself down into commitments. And when you do, you might hold your ideals a little bit, like, I'm trying to like decipher this. This is a little bit of a confusing one. Hang on, just give me a sec. Okay, so let me rephrase. So I'm seeing that what you hold close to you is very important to you. So like, I feel like you have a lot of value in a few things. You might be a little bit more free-spirited. You might kind of just go to different places. Like, you have a hard time being tied down to one place, because I do feel like, yeah, you might feel bored easily, and you kind of want to constantly feel like there's excitement, and you constantly feel like you're participating in things and constantly interacting with people. Like, I'm seeing that that will be really good for your soul, because you don't want to be left feeling like super bored with life. I'm seeing that there's like this level of excitement and just like floating around and figuring out what you want in life. I know, I see the Lord of the Rings. I think of like a long journey. Like, there's like these journeys that are happening in your life. Like, you take different journeys to kind of feel different emotions. So when you're feeling like you're stagnant and you're just not feeling like you're going anywhere, I'm seeing that there is going to be this like transition. You just need to float around, kind of go to different places, rediscover yourself in a lot of ways, and kind of also rediscover your passion and feel like you're part of something. Hi, baby. My kitty just meowed. Apologies. Sorry. So yeah, that's kind of what's happening here. With the Death card, I'm seeing that sometimes you have a resistance to change, which is interesting, because you have this personality that is like very free, but at the same time, it's almost like change like worries you. Like, maybe you're afraid of kind of like locking yourself down, or changing the way that you think, or changing your lifestyle, or altering it in any way. And there's almost like a little bit of a resistance. I'm seeing when the Death card comes up, I'm seeing that there's changes that are happening in your life that you just need to kind of go with. You just need to allow to happen. And when I see the Death card, it's not meaning that you're going to die. That's not what it means. It's essentially like the end of a transition, the end of a phase. And the Death reverse to me, that's like, okay, I need you to let go. I need you to let things happen. I need you to just let it flow and allow yourself to kind of just move with this energy rather than trying to resist it. If this is a little bit confusing, because I'm a little bit confused right now too. I'm hoping that I'm getting this message across right. If this particular message wasn't for you, I'm sorry, but that's kind of what I'm getting from it. But I am seeing that your greatest tool is communication, is community, is allowing yourself to feel like you have a few close friends and things that are really important to you and things that you can count on, and be able to express yourself fully. Because I feel like your level of expression deserves acknowledgement by the right kind of people. And I feel like once you allow yourself to find like a connection with somebody that allows you to let go, then a lot more of like this like passion and excitement will kind of come out in you, and you will be able to communicate with ease with those that are supposed to be in your life and those that are meant to be in your life. We have the Eight of Swords here. So when I see this, I feel like maybe for a while you were kind of feeling a little bit paralyzed by your thoughts and your anxieties, but I'm seeing that there's like a lot of empowering, wonderful qualities in you where you're able to really take off the blindfold and look at some of the stressful situations around you. If this was an upright card, I would say you're feeling a little bit stuck, but I'm seeing that there's like this amazing ability to just kind of like see what situation you're in and just make a choice and make a decision based on that. And I'm really seeing that others recognize that in you as well. Like you aren't somebody that's blind to life. You really take a look at all of the issues and a lot of the problems that are going on, especially mentally. And just because this energy is in the reversed section, that's kind of like an internalized thing. Like I feel like you're okay in your head. Like as much as you might feel like there are moments when you're anxious and are uncertain, and especially like if there's any like grand shifts or change, you always kind of want to feel like you're the one that's in control. It takes off the blindfold and looks around and be like, okay, this is happening. And rather than try to resist it, you just kind of go with the flow, which I feel makes you a little bit more of a chill personality. But again, just because of this go with the flow mentality, I'm also seeing that there is kind of like that resistance to kind of lock down, or resistance to kind of like really truly like deeply invest in something. And I don't know why, but this like Four of Cups card is just kind of like aloofness. It's just kind of like, oh yeah, I'm here, I'm hanging out, like whatnot. Like you'll join the party, but you might not plan the party. That's kind of what I'm getting here. So that's some of how you're viewed as well. The Ace of Swords means that sometimes you have a hard time getting ideas off the ground. And that's really kind of comes from just like having an inconsistency in knowing what you want for sure. It's just like wanting to be free and wanting to have that freedom and just being able to float around, because I feel like if you make too many mental decisions, then you're going to kind of like get yourself into like a trap where you'll be unhappy and you'll be bored, and then you won't be able to do the exploring or the floating or any of the exciting things, the adventures that you want to do. The Knight of Swords, to me, that's kind of like it's kind of like the James Bond of cards. So somebody that's really intellectually sharp, somebody that is sorry, my kitty's here. Hi, baby. Somebody that is kind of a little bit more of like a not necessarily matured energy. So I'm seeing like there's still a lot of like trial and error you feel like you need to do within yourself and within your energy, in kind of more of a mental perspective. Like you're still trying to navigate the world and understand how you want things to play out and how you want your dreams to manifest. Because when I see this, it's like, okay, yeah, you have this logic, you have this sense of adventure, your air, you kind of blow around, which is funny because the swords are air, and there's just like a lot of swords here. So it's like floating. It's just like allowing yourself to just be carried by the wind. And to me, that's like what that Knight of Swords energy is. It's like a lot of adventure, a lot of action, a lot of, I just kind of want to do things. I want to do my own thing. And that's a lot how others perceive you as well, because I feel like you don't want to get stuck in the melancholy of things. You definitely do want to like allow yourself to expand as a person and kind of get out there and feel like you are kind of creating a lot of excitement for yourself. But I am seeing like at your core, you're quite a chill person. Like I'm not seeing that there's anything crazy. Like you're good at communication. I feel like you can hold on to things a little bit, sometimes maybe like a little bit too much. Like the Four of Pentacles, sometimes it can represent like just like being afraid to put things down or being afraid to maybe like settle somewhere. So like Four of Pentacles buddy, he's like holding all of his important things in his hands and he can move around with them. So I'm seeing that there is definitely that adventurous spirit And having that Lord of Rings, this cat hair on my hands now, Lord of the Rings ring is like, oh, adventure. That's really what I see for you. That's all I'm really getting for pile number 2. I hope that made sense for you. If it did, please leave me a comment in the description. I would love to hear how this applied to you. If it didn't, I'm sorry. I did my very best. Give me a like if you enjoyed, and subscribe for more. It was really lovely chatting with you today, and have a fabulous rest of your day. Pile number 3. Hello and welcome to your reading. How do others see you? So this is going to kind of take a peek at your personality, maybe give you a little bit of insight into what's going on, how others view you, as well as like giving you a little bit of tidbit too, a little bit of information about your life and maybe some things that are playing a part in how you're perceived. So pile number 3, you have chosen the Copper. So I'm not really sure how that correlates, but we'll see if it does tie into the reading at all. I didn't really methodically choose these. I just put them on there. Okay, so we have Queen of Wands, 8 of Pentacles, the Hermit, Mystic, Choices, 3 of Swords, the Chariot, and 3 of Pentacles. So right off the bat, I just feel like you're kind of somebody that has a hard time sitting still. There's a lot of excitement, a lot of wonderful things that you want to do, and a lot of choices that you feel like you need to make in terms of like where you want your life to go in the direction that you want to move. I'm seeing though, like you're having a hard time like pinning down where exactly you want to go, because like you're so excited by so many things, and there's almost like an interest in like, I feel like there's an interest in psychology a little bit here. There's an interest in mysticism and understanding some of the more magical things of the world, which is why I'm seeing the Mystic here. But right off the bat, when I see the Queen of Wands card, that means like I feel like there's a fiery personality here. So there's like a lot of passion, a lot of excitement, sometimes a little bit of impulsiveness. There is this drive to kind of be goal oriented, a little bit more action oriented, and yeah, the queens to me, they speak a lot about taking care of the immediates around you. The kings are more about the kingdom, the queens are more about the family. So I'm seeing that you're very warm and loving towards the people in your life when you do invest in them. You're really wanting to take care of yourself and of everybody around you, and that's an extremely important trait for you to do. You have a very warm energy that you give off, so I'm seeing that is wonderful. But the Hermit card that is reversed, that maybe you have a hard time being alone, like you really like to socialize, you really like to kind of get out there. Maybe like there's that aspect of yourself that does have a hard time sitting still, because there is like a little bit more quick thinking sort of energy that's in that. So like, yeah, you can really come out of this, like when you are feeling hermitish, people can notice. They're like, oh, okay, was there something wrong? Because normally you're not like that. You're kind of like more warm and loving and just willing to kind of give your heart on your sleeve in a way, because the Queen of Wands really does speak that to me. So it's just like when you're like a hermit and you kind of go away, they're like, are you okay? Like what's going on with you? So that's kind of what kind of gives it away. But I feel like the times that you do have to kind of hermit a little bit, it's because you have to make a choice and a decision, and sometimes that decision might affect others. So like you are worried about causing distress to the people that are around you, and that's like the last thing that you want to do. So you try to avoid conflict at all costs, and sometimes maybe being a little bit avoidy with it. But at the same time, I'm feeling like ultimately your intentions are pure, and your intentions are for ultimately making choices that are the best for the people that are around you. With the 8 of Pentacles, to me, when it's upside down, to me, this kind of gives me that like squirrely, I have a hard time sitting still sort of feel. Sometimes you have a hard time locating a passion and actually sticking with it. So I'm seeing that your energy can be really all over the place sometimes, where you're just like, I don't know if I can sit still and like dedicate myself to reading an entire book like in like a week, you know, or a passion. Like I feel like you need to get up and you need to do a lot of things, and you need to kind of keep that energy moving. And I feel like that's a lot of the fire energy. So there's like, because there's that need for constant kind of change and shifts, there's a lot of choices that need to be made in your life. So when I see this choices card, I'm like, okay, yeah, maybe you are the delegator of your life. Like you're the leader, you kind of make a lot of choices and you make a lot of decisions. for other people as well. When you are somebody that's a leader, what a lot of people that, you know, follow your decisions don't understand is that sometimes it can be very stressful to make choices because you're trying to take everybody into consideration. So when I see that, I see that there is like sometimes a little bit like stress in that regard. However, the Eight of Pentacles doesn't mean that you can't sit still. It just means that you're more interested in exploring lots of different things rather than spending your time on just like one single project. You're interested in a lot of different things. And with the Mystic card that comes up, I'm feeling like you do operate a lot out of intuition, which also correlates closely with the Queen of Wands because she's a very intuitive, fiery, passionate individual. And then we have the Mystic. Like, I feel like they would be a really nice balance. You know, it's just like this more deep intuition. And then, of course, you have like this fiery. So it's like fire and water almost when I see these two. So you have these moments of needing to go within yourself and to understand how to make decisions that are going to be in the best for yourself as well as others, and weighing the pros and cons of that. So like there's a balance in you that I feel like you're continually striving to work with and to achieve. And yeah, so don't be afraid to take that time out for yourself and to spend a little bit of time alone, because your fiery energy, if you kind of remove your energy from whatever situation that you're in, or if there's anybody that you're talking to and you have to like take a couple steps back and like reevaluate, the people that are meant to be in your life will understand that aspect of you, and they will give you the space and they will give you the time, because you can't be everything for everybody all the time. And I just want to say that to you. But I do see that there's a lot of really great intention energy here, so I'm really happy to see that. So we have the Three of Swords. So to me, that's like you like working out conflict. Like maybe you might be a mentor or a third party, or you like giving advice or things like that. But the Three of Swords reverse is just like, okay, like you can kind of see a situation from both sides. So you can almost kind of like balance and allow a situation to feel fair to both parties. Like I feel like you're a really good mediator in that, just because you do have this like this interest in like this mysticism as well as this fire. It's that fire water balance, so that you can kind of almost like get in between like an idea or a thought and almost be like the pin in it, the pin in the middle. That's just kind of like, okay guys, like let's take a step back and like literally look at both sides, because I am seeing that drive really comes a lot from wanting to avoid conflict. So there's this aspect of you that's just like, yeah, not a huge fan of conflict, so like let's just take a look at both sides. So I'm seeing this like mediator sort of trait to you. And with the Chariot, I definitely feel like sometimes you overinvest in too many people or too many things at once, and it can kind of make you feel like things are a little bit out of control, just because you are so warm and caring. So when you feel like things are kind of like getting a little bit out of hand, that's why I'm feeling this kind of Hermit card needs to be almost put into play, because you definitely need to take a step back, kind of regain your strength and allow yourself to kind of move forward. So it's a lot about like internal, like understanding your internal needs and desires, and allowing yourself that time to rest so you can have that motivation, that drive, and that power to kind of move forward in the situation, feeling like you have the reins rather than allowing it to just like, you know, the seahorse to just gallop wildly through the sea. Like you want to be able to like prepare yourself and understand and know how much strength it's going to take to do something, or how much strength it's going to take somebody else to do something. Like you like to be really prepared, and I feel as though that element of you is so that you can have better control in knowing what you're going into, because there are a lot of choices, a lot of decisions that need to be made. So it's better to kind of know the situation, prepare yourself for it, rather than just like wildly, impulsively like jumping into it. So as much as I said that, you know, there is a little bit of an impulsion in this fire energy, I'm seeing that there is kind of like this need for control and this need for just feeling like you need people. Like I feel like you need people around you. You need validation. You want to make sure that you have all of your ducks in a row, which is like very organized as far as I'm concerned. So you're like definitely one of the more organized parties and like people that you know. And the Three of Pentacles as well. It's funny because the Three of Pentacles means that you're kind of like, you kind of like to work alone. It's not to say that you can't be a social person, because I'm not saying that. It doesn't seem like, it seems like you are a social person, but this Three of Pentacles is like sort of like an independence. Like, because you've maybe had to rely on yourself a lot to make some of the decisions that you've had to make, maybe you're kind of more inclined to like entrepreneurship, and just kind of like figuring things out for yourself rather than working with others or working in an environment with more people. You're a lot more interested in like this more entrepreneurial sort of like, I'm going to kind of march to the beat of my own drum. And I feel like that's the best thing for you, because sometimes working with others can create a lot of like friction and confusion, because like some people aren't willing to like look at both sides of things, which something that you can't really deal with and handle, because you are working on these aspects of yourself. So allowing yourself to kind of function in a way that is more entrepreneurial and kind of like focused on yourself and some of the best insights that you have, that's awesome and that's great. I think that that's a really great kind of spread for you there. And that's kind of how others see you. It's like there's this warmth, and then sometimes there's like a little bit of like tough time sitting still, but you are interested in moving forward and making a lot of choices and decisions and conflict. Like people come to you for advice. It's just, yeah, it's a good energy to have. I'm really happy. I honestly, personally, can relate to this specific deck. I didn't pick a card deck beforehand, but I feel like if I were to pick one, this one speaks a lot to me. Yeah, so that is pile number 3. If this resonated with you, please leave a comment in the description. Let me know what pile you picked. And if there's any specific question you want me to ask or a new type of reading you want me to do, I'd be happy to. Give me a like and a follow if you so desire. It was lovely chatting with you today, and I'll see you next time. Hello, pile number 4. Welcome. We have a nice big chunk of selenite here for you, so that's great. I don't really know what that means. Well, I do know what it means, but I don't know how it correlates with the reading. Selenite's a lot about cleansing, purity, just kind of a clean slate. So I don't know what that's going to correlate, but we will see. So how do others see you? So we're going to take a look at your energy, at some of the energy that you give off. Just give you a little bit of tidbit into your life, a little peek. And just kind of play it by ear and see how things go. King of Swords. Knight of Cups. I'm getting a ridiculous amount of reverse cards lately, like today. 7 of Pentacles. Enthusiasm. Give and receive. Temperance. 2 of Wands. Ace of Pentacles. And it always breaks my brain to have to read them upside down, because they're always like, ugh, okay. Let's figure it out. How do others see you? Okay. Intense. I feel like you're kind of a polarity. Like on one hand, you can be extremely kind of like it's so interesting to have these two cards, like the Knight of Cups and the King of Swords are like 2 totally different things. Like I honestly feel like the Knight of Swords would be like, or the King of Swords would be right pissed off with the Knight of Swords. The King of Swords would be right pissed off with the Knight of Cups, because the Knight of Cups operates out of like passion and excitement and like sort of like romantic qualities. And it's like a King of Swords is like cool, calm, and collected, and he's like logical in decision making. So I'm saying maybe there might be like a little bit of like a conflict between these two sides of you, where the King of Swords to me, that's like suppressed energy. So I'm saying like there's like a lot of mental intense energy, like this calculating part of you that's just kind of like always has to like think through things, and almost comes across as like a little bit cool, which is interesting because we had the Queen of Swords as well that came up. I think it was in the first pile, but now we have the King of Swords. So I guess they both wanted to come out today. But the King of Swords to me, that's like cool, calm, and collected. And when it's reversed, personally, I'm feeling like it's cold, which is weird, because we also have the Knight of Cups, which is very emotional, but that's reversed too. So it's like you're having an issue with balancing your emotions. Yeah. Hi, friend. Sorry, that's kind of like the reality of it here. But there's like, just based on that, and then like seeing the Temperance card upside down, like that's like fire and water, sort of like, it's like, where's my balance? Like, where is the balance between feeling passionate and loving and exciting, and then also feeling like this like really intense human being? Like I feel like you're extremely guarded, but at the same time, like you want to like unleash this side of yourself, but you have no idea how. And it's interesting because it's like there's a lot about duality in this. Like I'm seeing like a lot of duality. Like with the Temperance is like holding the 2, and then I feel like these guys are like real opposites, and then it's like give and receive, right? It's like it's the 2, and then we have the 2 of Wands over here too. So sorry, I'm jumping all over the place, but I am seeing that there's like a symbolism with like the number 2 in this reading. Not sure why, but that's kind of what I feel is coming up. So it's a lot about like, I feel like if you're confused with this aspect of yourself, and I feel like others might be a little bit perplexed with you too, because they never really know what they're going to get from day to day. But ultimately, I want you to understand that both of these sides of yourself are very important. You need to honor both sides of yourself and plant seeds so that you can see different aspects of you unfolding. So like there might be a little bit of this emotional immaturity that's in here. When I see the Knight, that's kind of more of like an adolescent energy. Not to say that you have the mentality of like a teenager, but it's just to say that I feel like you're still developing this aspect of yourself and this emotional aspect and what love and passion and romance and what that even means to you. And on top of that, like trying to be like logical about it, it's like almost like this King of Swords is like dictating and dominating this Knight of Cups and almost like smothering him. So it's just like this need to feel like detached and like independent and just cool, calm, and collected is almost like, it's like your defense mechanism for like shutting people out, but it's kind of like cutting yourself off from like this amazing energy that you have access to. And I feel like a lot of it is about like planting seeds and seeing your hard work pay off. So like, I feel like that's really what's driving you. Is like you want to work hard. You want to see like the fruits of your labor come into reality, but you're not going to be able to unless you're able to kind of figure out these guys, because I feel like, you know, like maybe the Knight of Cups energy in you is like really excited about something. And then the King of Swords energy comes in and is like, well, actually, you still have to do this, 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 and this. And it almost like squishes it. So it's almost like this pessimism meets this like this emotional shutdown. Like there's this like maybe this excitement initially and like this emotional like, oh, this could be something that I like, to be like, no, this, and this. And it almost keeps you like stuck. Keeps you like stuck, and it keeps you in balance because you're not able to like nourish either part of yourself. And I feel like this King of Swords, this really more intense energy, is the thing that's kind of dictating the majority of you. That's not to say that you're a cold-hearted person. I'm not saying that at all. What I am saying is that there's an aspect of you that is extremely hard to understand. And that part of you that you're still working to understand almost makes you come across as cold. But sometimes you can be very playful, which is very, very confusing to the people that are in your life. Like look at I know it's not fire and water because it's cups and swords, but it's like water and air. And it's like this changeability, this adaptability, like this, yeah, it's confusing. Like I'm confused by this reading. I'm confused by this reading. But it's more about like wanting to see the fruits of your labor. I want to see you plant ideas and exciting things that you can do for yourself and allow yourself to grow these fruits of your labor so you can truly feel like you're operating out of a place of passion and excitement, but also logic. So that when you are able to like create something that is amazing, that is beautiful, that is something that you worked hard for, I feel like that would not only feed into both of these. It would satisfy both of these, because the Cups energy, which is kind of like a lot more about emotion and excitement, it's like that initial creative idea, which is like super like, yay, that's wonderful. But then this King's energy, that's just kind of like, okay, now let's get down to business. So I feel like there's like that, the kind of contrasting parts of you that need to learn to work together a little bit more. And I mean that with all the love in my heart. Is a tough place to be when your brain is like that. And I'm seeing that others are kind of recognizing you too, but you are able to like still somehow manage to get things done and be successful. But I am seeing that there does need to be some kind of kinks that are worked out in terms of your personality. So it's like the give and the receive. It's like the temperance. It's like, how much am I giving? How much am I receiving? So understanding how much of those two aspects of yourself are in charge of your life, making sure that you're balancing this emotional fulfillment with a little bit, like a lot more of this logic. Because if you have just this guy, you're going to come across as a total asshole. And if you have just this guy, it's just like you're just operating off of passion. And it's just like not going to go anywhere. And it'll be like really more childish energy. But I am seeing that this is a lot of stuff. This is more internal stuff because the cards are reversed. When the cards are reversed, that's like a lot of internal stuff that's happening. So I'm just going to put that there because I feel like that's a lot of what the balance is. Like the temperance, you need to balance these two. Figure out Figure out what the hell is happening here. And I'm seeing that by doing that, like, you will allow the people in your life to understand that there's this, like, a polarity that you kind of go through, and it's like something that you may have. So there's like this enthusiasm card. So, right, like there's like this enthusiasm, which I'm seeing that does come with the Knight of Cups. So it's just like, okay, this exciting energy. So I'm seeing that I really want you to play more into that. I want you to give more energy to that exciting, more passionate aspect of yourself, because ultimately that enthusiasm is going to be the thing that's going to be able to get you to the place where you want to be and see the fruits of your labor. So allow yourself to do things that are playful, exciting, less logical, things that you don't have to think about quite as much and you can just kind of do, despite maybe like uncertainties or anxieties. Allow yourself to understand that you still don't know everything in the world, and the more experience that you have, the more confident that you'll feel in your life in general, so that you no longer have to like question this kind of like more emotional card. So you can kind of be like, okay, I feel the emotion and I can be logical with it, and we can both agree or agree to disagree. Two of Wands tells me that there is a hesitation in terms of the direction that you want to move in life. Just because it's reversed, to me that's like, okay, there's like, that's the two. It's like the two. It's just like, what part of myself do I want to nurture? Do I want to invest in more? The emotional part of myself that's kind of more about passion and excitement and following my heart, or more of this logic part of myself that is kind of a little bit more stable, secure, but also kind of a little bit callous and grumpy sometimes. So it's just like making sure that you are nurturing both parts of yourself and recognizing that you don't necessarily have to make a choice between the two. You can have both. Like, you can have both. Like, you don't have to pick one. You can enjoy life and, you know, have a good head on your shoulders. And the Ace of Pentacles, to me, that's like, okay, this is like at the beginning. This is the start of an opportunity for you to truly start something fresh and start something new. But in terms of like career or finance or any decisions based on like security or home or anything like that, I advise you to not make any decisions until you found a balance in this, because I feel like if you continue to make decisions based on this imbalanced thing, you're going to find yourself in a position where you are solely dominated by that King of Swords energy, and that Knight of Cups energy won't have a lot of time to play and enjoy and have the sense of enthusiasm and just nurturing that part of yourself and just understanding what you need emotionally. And what you need emotionally ultimately is going to lead you to happiness, because your logical head could just be like, oh yes, I think this will make me happy. But if you don't feel it in your heart, you're not really going to get anywhere. So to me, this is like a lot about like, hey, just like, you know, things aren't taken off just yet, but there does need to be a balance that's happening here. Hi, baby, McKitty. That before you can make these important decisions. And I feel, you know, I know that I'm talking a lot to you. This is more about how others see you, but I'm also feeling like, yeah, they recognize that like people see you as like maybe being a little bit unsure, a little bit uncertain. You're a very giving person, and you can have a lot of enthusiasm, and you know you have a lot of ideas about what you want, but it's just about like allowing yourself to take action and to really listen to those parts of your heart and those parts of your emotion that are essentially trying to tell you that there needs to be some kind of balance. And I am seeing that that's really going to come forward. And the interesting thing is like with the selenite here, the nice beautiful chunk of selenite, it's like this cleansing. It's just like, yeah, you need to stop fighting between like the devil and the angel on your shoulder, and allow yourself to operate with ease. And it's not supposed to be hard to exist. Like follow what makes you feel good. And then when you're feeling good, then those logical decisions can make more sense, and they'll be fueled by excitement. It will be fueled by enthusiasm rather than being fueled by like, oh, I don't want to do this because it's a bad idea, or like just callousness in a way. I hope that makes sense. I hope I didn't like make you out to seem like a jerk or something, but like, because I honestly are not. It's just like this conflict. And the people that are closest to you will see this, will understand, recognize it. It's not like there's anything intrinsically wrong here. It's just like understanding that polarity does need to shift. That's pile number 4, folks. Did that make sense? I really hope so. I'm always like, question mark, did it make sense? And then people comment, they're like, actually, this related to me a lot. And I'm like, wow, really? Because I just talking out of my ass here. But yeah. If you enjoyed, please give me a thumbs up, leave a comment, let me know what you think. If it resonated with you, great. If not, I'm sorry, did my best. Subscribe for more videos, and I will see you next time. Catch you later.